how does one talk like they don't own the place?
Can I come in?
Excuse me. Am I allowed in?
Hey, Wendy's. I need a burger.
May I have a burger, please?
May I have a burger? That's how you talk.
Yeah, they say, sir, this isn't Wendy's.
But when you own the place, you say, no burger for you.
And you say, all my burgers.
My burger. Best burger movies. I mean, Pulp Fiction's probably up there, right?
Ooh, add that to the list. Add it to the list.
Yeah.
Also, add this to the list, that intro, as just number 3 of just
we're
intros.
We're over 3.
I cannot wait to see the compilation list.
But before we get to this list, send in your lists in the comments. Things we should talk about.
Yeah.
But this video, you already clicked on it, so you already know. Or if you're on our stream, TH11 Plus.
Surprise.
This is the surprise. You're thinking, just tell us already. And I'm not going to. You're good.
In fact, we're going to toss to a commercial break.
And we're back.
And we're back.
We're going to talk about movies that take place over a day. Sometimes overnight. A couple of these are overnight, but a few are over a day.
Yeah.
These are mostly horror movies, so we're staying away from most of those, except for one.
Yeah.
But we're not going to talk about the obvious. Zach is not on this episode because he was only going to talk about Superbad, and we say, we already know about that one.
Zach's actually outside just talking about Superbad.
Yeah, he's just talking right now. There's obvious ones like Superbad, like Ferris Bueller.
Yeah, really most John Hughes movies, most high school teen movies are going to be set in that one day. Yeah.
Yes. One that we're going to talk about, because not a lot of people talk about it, and we want to give it its flowers, is Can't Hardly Wait.
Yes.
Which I learned, that you already knew,
Yep.
that the directors also did Josie and the Pussycats.
Another really good movie that people do not like, or that didn't like. I don't know. People like it now. Like it now, yeah. They like it now. They understand it now. Anyways, Can't Hardly Wait. Man, this movie, I love this movie so much. I think this was a movie, like, you remember, like, when, like, HBO would just show movies all day?
Yeah.
This is definitely one of those movies where I was like, oh, I have HBO. I'm just going to, it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a summer.
Oh, you had HBO? We had to wait for the free trial.
Sorry. I think we, like, signed up for, like, cable or whatever, and we got it for free for a little bit. So I recorded a ton of movies. Yeah, so I saw that, and it's like, I fell in love with it. Because I love a teen movie. I love a 90s teen movie.
Yes.
The cast is incredible.
Crazy
it's so
cast,
stacked.
yeah.
And even stacked, like, where the cameos are like, whoa, like, you just got Melissa Joan Hart, who is at the height of, like, Sabrina, to show up for like, a dumb bit. Great.
And it was probably the year before American Pie, I believe? Or around the same time?
It was around that same time, yeah. Like, Jennifer Love Hewitt's in this, Ethan Embry, Peter Facinelli, who we just talked about a lot with the Twilight videos.
Seth Green,
Charlie Cosmo, who is Jack from Hook.
Mm-hmm.
This was like one of like 2 or 3 roles he had.
Yes.
But so anyways, the whole story is there was a high school party. They just graduate from Third Eye Blind is on the soundtrack. And
but plot twist, wouldn't you know it, the nerds aren't invited.
Nerds aren't invited. Anyway, so really so it's kind of like these multiple people stories. Like Seth Green, it has a story, and other people, like they're all kind of crossing over into this party, and it's just a really good, just fun movie.
It was great, and I saw it obviously right as I was going into high school. So for me, I was like, oh man, I wish I could go to all these parties and do all that. But obviously I was in Clinton, Arkansas, population of 2,000. I mean, there were parties like that, but you didn't really go to them because if you didn't have a car, couldn't make it. Yeah. Whereas in this one, it was more of like a suburb. Yeah. And so it felt that it was like more of a suburb type party.
Yeah. Like there's maybe 1 or 2 things there. Like, did it age well, but also the way that they use it. Like, they're just something that plays out with the bully and the nerd that end up, it ends up being like they turn it around. Like, it's not like an American Pie where like, oh, like you could not like make this today. You could not watch this today. So it's just it's like a sweet kind of American Pie, but like without just like, we gotta have sex before prom.
Not as crass, but still a little crass.
Yeah. And it's just great soundtrack. Named for the Replacements song "Can't Hardly Wait," which is at the end. just really good, really solid. Go
Just a wonderful movie. So let's go from a wonderful movie to maybe not so wonderful in terms of like the drama that's in it. And I'm talking about Dog Day Afternoon, which is directed by Sidney Lumet. And obviously has Al Pacino. Basically, it's a bank robbery that went wrong. It's based on a real life thing that happened. And basically, Al Pacino's character and another guy have to basically hold a standoff with police while they have hostages and then release the hostages. But also, he's bisexual, so he wants to get like money for his lover. And so it's all these things compounding on top of each other. He doesn't want to be there. It was supposed to be like just go in, grab the money and leave, because back in the 70s, security wasn't the best. But nowadays banks are pretty secure and it's pretty impossible to get money. But back then you could go in, but they go in right after the money has already been taken out. So they only get like 1,100 and they're hoping for like 10,000. But obviously it's Al Pacino's performance, him screaming Attica. It's based on like a bunch of things that happened back in the day, the riots and the protests. It's just a wonderfully made movie. And it's been a while since I've seen it because I saw it when I was like 14. But it's still like you think of it and you're like, other than Godfather, this is one of the roles in Serpico. These are the roles that made Al Pacino.
But like Dog Day Afternoon, like you hear it in like every list, but it really isn't like, I think we're getting to a place where people just don't talk about like those movies anymore.
They're a little lost. Like people, film people, and obviously Gen X and millennials who grew up on the VHS era, they have seen it. Yeah. But Zoomers probably haven't seen it because it's like you search Dog Day Afternoon, you have to find where it is streaming, and then it's like, then all of a sudden all these other things pop up, and you're like, oh my god, I can't watch all of that.
Yeah, and that's the real crime here is that it's just
we're gonna lose some classics.
Yeah.
While I love streaming. And I love having all these streaming apps. You will lose some classics over time.
Can I ask you, what is it about? Because our video is about things that take place over one day. What is it about that format that makes Dog Day Afternoon?
It's the calamity of events. Because it's supposed to be super simple. Even when you think of the poster, which I just popped up a second ago, it lays it out perfectly. It's supposed to be a simple job. And then it turns into this whole affair. He wants to get on a plane, and he's never been on a plane before, and that's how he wants to escape. And people die in it, and it's just like it encapsulates the tragedies that American people face, especially when it comes to healthcare and things like that. So, and also struggling to make ends meet with money. So it's like it's just the calamity of American problems, all into one movie.
Putting it in that one day situation just heightens it a little bit.
Yes,
like the town is stressful at the end, but like. You're just kind of building up to it. Or like Heat, you're just kind of building up to it, where if you have a movie like Dog Day Afternoon and it happens in one day, like you're feeling that stress the whole time.
And it's like the sweat, his sweat is going on.
70s sweat.
Yes.
Real sweat.
And it spawns so many copycats. I mean, there's good copycats of this, but also you get the bad ones like John Travolta and Dustin Hoffman from the 90s. I can't even remember what that movie's called. But it's like the janitor holds the bank hostage. Yeah. Let's stay in the 70s and let's talk about the Warriors. Warriors! Even if people don't know, we don't have any glass bottles. Even if people don't know anything about the Warriors, they definitely saw the video game that came out in like 2006 or something like that and played it. There are things that are ingrained in our culture now that is because of the Warriors. It personifies the crime problem in New York into just a bunch of warring gang factions.
But each gang's like, what if there was a baseball gang? What if there was a rollerblading?
Yes.
Or
But also it combines like the assassinations of like MLK and Malcolm X into like, what if this big person in Fred Hampton, what if this one person is assassinated and everything goes to poop? And it's just the Warriors have to survive because they're blamed for it.
Not only is it one day, it's they're like, we got to get from here to there.
And we just got to survive till the sun rises.
And that's what I love any movie that is, it sets up the one day thing, but also we need to here are the stakes.
Yeah.
And it just makes it easy to follow along with I know, they're here. They're about halfway here now. And it makes it, I just love stuff like that. Because you're like, oh, something's got to happen soon too. Oh no, what's about to happen? Like the more that I think about these movies, because we tried to pick such not obscure ones, but ones that aren't like the one.
Yes.
You know, that I just get worried that like in 30, 50 years, or is anyone talking about that? Is anyone doing this? And they're like, they'll have no idea, you know?
I think the Warriors, Dog Day Afternoon, they'll definitely stand the test of time. But Can't Hardly Wait has definitely already been out of the zeitgeist for a long time.
Good news, though. I still have it on iTunes. Don't worry.
Don't worry.
Don't worry.
It'll at least
on my iTunes account.
be just like the YouTube album. They'll just put it out on iPods everywhere. Let's enter the 80s.
Okay.
John Carpenter.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of one-night movies.
Yeah, some of the best, actually.
Actually, he did a one-night movie on another planet. Not great. Goes to Mars.
Oh, I won't talk about it.
But obviously, The Fog is perhaps one of the craziest horror movies.
Well, and also it's the one that like everyone like people who love John Carpenter, they don't forget about this one. But I think everyone talks about The Thing, they talk about Halloween, and probably like They Live.
Yes.
You know, like if they're thinking like in that kind of weird sci-fi horror kind of thing. But like The Fog is so fun, not just as a day kind of one day movie, but just like, hey, here is a filmmaker who could legit do whatever he wants now. And now he's like, well, I'm going to get a couple friends, a couple people I just worked with, and we're just going to make this like really like New England-y like movie about with like kind of like horror, but also mostly vibes. There's a story, ghost story about the ship that sank, and now someone is to blame, according to the story. And now 100 years later, the ghosts are back and they want vengeance, or they want something, some kind of like payment. Yeah. And it really is like, you know, a lot of people talk about like Freddy Krueger and Nightmare on Elm Street being that kind of like Reagan-y movie where it's like, you know, sins of the father, sins of the son, you know, like Bastard of the Son. This is like the same, you know, it is like before all that, it was like, what if someone did something bad a long time ago and now the people now have to pay for it.
And the fog rolls in and the city has to come together basically. When Carpenter calls, you answer.
Yeah.
Especially when he's just like, I'm just gonna vibe.
Yeah.
Also, he does the soundtrack.
He does the soundtrack, which is very like Halloween is like very synthy. This is like, what if we got some synths, but what if we went operatic with it?
Yeah.
He's like, someone please get me an organ, and please, and it's really good. It's sick.
It's great. It's great. I mean, I'll always vouch for any Carpenter movie.
And it legit like it starts at midnight and it ends the next midnight. So in my head, I'm like, that is the perfect, unobscured, like what, like a lot of times like, what time did this start and what time did it end? Like this is like, hey, this is a whole day.
Yeah.
So
speaking of a whole day, we got to end with a Martin Scorsese movie. I've been meaning to watch this forever. Finally watched it in preparation for this to see if we could get a fifth one, and it successfully made the list.
Success.
After Hours, which is a tight 90 from Scorsese. We were talking about it before the video. I was thinking about, oh man, my algorithm keeps pushing me After Hours because, you know, the recent news is Scorsese's going to do a Jesus movie, but he wants to make it 90 minutes. And he doesn't do 90 minutes that much anymore these days.
Which he doesn't have to.
No, he doesn't have to. He can do whatever he wants. It follows this guy after work who's basically tired of, just wants to chill after work, but he can't sleep. I mean, everyone. And so then things happen and he has to deal with them. He meets a bunch of different women. It's a commentary on work-life balance. It's a commentary on emasculation without being sexist, which is a very big deal for the 80s. I mean, like, the 80s was all about machismo. And this is like, what if a dude was being emasculated, but not because he's like being sexist or anything? But also it's just like New York again. What if the crime problem was into one person being like chased down and everything? It's just a wild, fun movie. Scorsese's pulling all his tricks, dolly zoom ins, all kinds of things. It's edited really well. The acting's really great. Patricia Arquette, Catherine O'Hara, the dad from Home Alone.
That's where they meet, fall in love, and then have Macaulay Culkin later.
Yes, you can't prove it wrong. But After Hours, it's one of Scorsese's like, it's like Bringing Out the Dead. Yeah. It's like you don't expect it to be good because it's not in his style. But when he breaks his style, that's how you know how great of a filmmaker he is. Because like even Gangs of New York, which is kind of his style, kind of breaks his style a little bit. Yeah. But yes, it is from when he clocks out at work to when he gets back to work. And it's really well acted. Yeah. I mean, Catherine O'Hara shows up for like 15 minutes, but she's great.
He's on streaming?
It's on Roku TV.
Whoa.
For free.
Sick.
And if you have ad blockers on, I don't look, hey, I'm not saying I use them, but if you have ad blockers
You're
on.
saying if you would have had it on, it probably would have been.
There would have been
yeah.
no commercials.
Yeah.
So, yes.
There we go.
But yes, there are plenty of great one-night movies.
Yeah.
A lot of Halloween. I mean,
Yeah.
most Friday the 13th are over one night.
Prom nights.
Prom nights.
I mean, the 80s like thrived off this.
Yeah.
this
Except for a little bit of the beginning of Carrie. Most of it is one night.
Yeah. Just a lot. The 80s were, I guess 70s and 80s were a big time for let's just do something in one night.
Yeah.
Cloverfield.
Cloverfield, yes. Yeah.
One night.
I mean,
A lot of found footage, I guess.
a lot of found footage, yeah.
You know?
Wreck. And,
Right, yeah.
Blair Witch is not over one night.
Yeah,
It's a
and
couple
there was
days.
something recently that's like, is that technically one night? Because, you know, maybe it's the new Blair. I was thinking about the new Blair Witch because
Yeah.
you really don't know
Yeah.
if it's one night or not. Yeah.
Green Room.
Now, green, well, if we hadn't just talked about that could have been on the list.
How do we end this video? We got to bring it back to burger somehow.
Okay.
We got to save. Let's not spoil that because we'll save that for another video.
Which video?
Our best burgers and movies.
No, yeah. I got it.
No, here we go.
Okay.
I got it.
Okay.
If it's midnight, you know?
Okay.
Let's imagine all the fast food places
Okay.
are open because they don't do it these days.
Yeah.
But back in the day, they did. What's your burger that you go and get?
Man.
Could be anywhere. It doesn't have to be region specific.
Okay. I'll tell you. Jack in the Box.
Jack in the Box.
Jack in the Box. I think if you want a late night burger, you're not going for not very greasy, you're going for the nastiest burger you can find.
Yeah.
And Jack in the Box, you get 2 cheeses on your burger. Yes, please.
Yeah. You get a taco with it though?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd save it for breakfast. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm probably going In-N-Out.
In-N-Out is solid.
Yeah.
In-N-Out would be solid. But again, that's just a solid burger anytime.
And it's cheap.
I'm probably not doing a Jack in the Box burger for lunch. Doing a Jack in the Box burger to pass out and go to sleep.
Jack in the Box. You have to be in a certain type of way to get that.
Yeah. And if you're going at midnight, I think you are. You know?
Yeah.